Thank you. Oh my gosh, the crowd has been people. Now I'm glad that you guys want to stay around. I think the one thing that people like to kind of put up on a pedestal is the equity raise and getting deals and doing that sort of business, right? But where the rubber meets the road is the property and the asset management part of the business. That is how you execute your business plan. That is how people make money. Those are how returns are actually met. So, I can underwrite any deal. I could go buy 100 deals in the next month if I wanted to, right? But that doesn't mean they're good deals. That doesn't mean I'm going to be able to operate them. So what do you need after the fact, right? You need a good property management team. You need a good asset management team. So I'm going to give you my definition of the two, and then I'm going to bring up some experts, and kind of ask them some very, very tough questions, throw them some curveballs, put them on uncomfortable positions, and see how they perform. Just messing with you, all right? So property management is boots on the ground, right? They are the people that are collecting rents. They are the people that are employing the people that are working at the property. They are doing the work orders, right? They are the day-to-day grinding it out at the property level, right? So that's property management. Asset management sometimes got lumped into that, but it's a different thing. Now, in some firms, it's going to be an in-house thing. Sometimes it's going to be a third-party thing. I look at asset management as somebody that's managing the property management company, right? They are making sure that property management company is performing in accordance to the business plan. And then they're reporting that stuff back to ownership and back to investors, right? They're that conduit between the two. Because the last thing that you want is your investors going straight to a Jackie or to a Robert and, well, maybe some of your investors go to you, but, you get my point. You don't want them going straight and saying, well, what's going on with occupancy? What's doing this? You need to have that buffer there to allow the property management company to go do their thing, right? So that is what the asset management's role is to manage the property management company and make sure, ultimately, that they are getting the returns that they're projecting, right? So, without further ado, I'd like our panelists to come up. Like I said, I will be throwing some very tough questions your way, especially you, Sam. But we got Sam's on the asset management side, Jackie's on the property management side. I'm just an idiot up here asking questions.
All right, thank you.
All right, so I'm going to take my notes out here because Shannon is so well prepared. And for anybody that doesn't know, Shannon Spree, tall, blonde, blue dress. She's running this whole show. She's done a great job, and I would like you guys to thank her. All right, so you guys both have some mics. I'd like, Jackie, if you could take a couple seconds, I think 30, 60 seconds to introduce yourself. Is it working? All right, try it out. And then we'll go over to Sam.
I thought you were going to do an intro there, but so.
I can introduce you if you want, but no, you're doing a way better job than me.
Well, my name's Jackie Jackson, and I am the happy president of Disrupt Management. So we started the Disrupt Management last year. I have over 25 years experience in the industry, and I know what you're thinking. And I did start when I was 10. So yeah. Most of my experience has been in multifamily. I've managed all assets across the nation, all kinds, but predominantly in the southern part of the United States, portfolios of 10 to 20,000 units.
All right.
Good job. See, that wasn't that bad. Sam.
Yeah, hey guys, nice to meet you. My name's Sam Morris. I'm the Chief Investment Officer and Asset Manager for Rockstar Capital. Rockstar Capital here in Houston, we have 4,200 units, about $420 million in assets under management. My day-to-day responsibilities are I'm in charge of acquisitions, dispositions. I also oversee our accounting team, our investor sales team, the underwriting and all aspects when it comes to operating the properties themselves and integrating through the property management and the asset management groups.
All right. So I had my definition of property management and asset management, which was very, very simplistic because that's just the type of guy I am, right? Jackie, why don't you tell me what property management's role is, and how would you describe that as far as part of your process?
What property management's role is, other than to just make you guys lots of money. For us, It's about knowing the owner's expectations, knowing the investment's expectations, and working with the team at the corporate level, the on-site level, from the time of takeover all the way to the exit strategy to achieve our client's goals.
I love it. So, I mean, you're an integral part of the process, and I always tell people that, like, if you don't have your in-house property management, right, you need to pick your property management company wisely, right?
Absolutely.
So, you know, I mean, what would be, and I'll get to you here in a minute, Sam, so what would be the 3 things that you would ask? If you're on the ownership side, you're picking a property management, how do you weed out the bad actors in this? What are the questions you're asking?
Let's see. You know, like what questions? I mean, you guys, you know, you invest in real estate, you know, but they need your business. So I think that a lot of times you're not asking those tough questions. You have to lay out your expectations, put it all on the table before you start the relationship. You know, do your homework, get referrals, check them out, and make sure that they're a right fit for what you need in a management company. Question: how many properties does a property supervisor manage? How often are they on your properties? You know, really, you know, ask them a question. So, what from A to B, the first 90 days, what does it look like as it relates to managing your asset? And see if they're on the same page as you. See if you guys can meet expectations. But I think be methodical and take your time and make sure you pick the right group.
No, I love it. Yeah, I mean, because if you pick the wrong one, it will scuttle your deal, right? So, Sam, switching gears, right? What is your definition of asset management, right? And how it kind of it's part of the whole process.
Well, I mean, the clearest thing, the asset manager is there for the investor, right? I mean, that really is what it boils down to, is that you are there to oversee that the investor's interests are taken care of. You know, one of the things we pride ourselves at Rockstar Capital, we have a 3-man investor sales team. We have constant communication that we're putting out to them, but we also let them know, you know, great examples. This past week, we had a massive ice storm here for those of you that are not from Houston. It was fairly catastrophic in some areas. Just in our portfolio alone, we had 384 pipe breaks. But what happened with that too is, you know, from an asset management standpoint, we're working on site with the property management group, letting them know what our expectations are, making sure that we can approve things for spend and things of that nature. We have that, but also letting the investors know, hey, here's what's going on. So last week, you know, they all got emails. Hey, there was an event that occurred. We're going to have damage. We're going to assess it. This week, they got an email again. Hey, here's exactly what happened to the property. Here's what was impacted. Here's why that this is going to matter to you, and here's what that means to you as the investor for your property, for your investment. All along, you're working with property management to make sure all those items are being addressed, and you're making sure that they're spending money the appropriate way, making sure that they have all the resources they need to be able to fulfill the necessary standards that we have for the properties themselves. That is asset management.
And I've done a poor job as a moderator, buddy. Why don't you introduce yourself? We're going to circle back. Oh, you did?
I'll introduce myself again.
Okay, then we'll keep moving along then. My bad. I haven't had enough coffee already. Sorry. Switching gears then, we get again. All right, so where would you say that asset management stops and property management? Like, where is that line for you?
So, you know, most people assume asset management really just on the financial side. And so I'm a reformed banker of 18 years. So the last panel that was up here, I can tell you, I knew every word that those guys were talking about. I can tell you exactly what that meant and everything that it accounted for in regards to the life cycle of the property. It's not just the number aspect of it, though. It's actually making sure that you have so many other things. You know, with our most recent acquisition we did last year, you have a rehab plan. You're going to make sure that your property management has the ability to execute that plan, and you're giving them the tools to do that. But as far as property management, that line, it's the day-to-day. They're there on the day-to-day. They're actually executing the business plan that you have set forth, that the investors are getting their expectations met. They're executing that model that you have put together for that property.
Gotcha. No, I mean, I think that it's important to be a communicator, right? And I think, and that's actually the property management role too, right? You're communicating to the asset manager is communicating to the investor and the ownership group, right? You know, if those things, they can be a symbiotic relationship. I think in some ways they're, they can be
You know,
contingent
it's so
to.
funny you say that, because it does, it has to be, right? From a communication standpoint, even last year, I gave a speech to all of our property managers and regional managers. And I think a lot of people do see it that way, right? And what I told them was, I said, hey, you have to understand, asset management's over here. It looks at things through blue glasses. Property management's over here, and it looks at things through yellow glasses. And the objective for the overall asset management, what we're trying to do is to marry that, right? And so you can see things through green glasses. We're on the same page. We're working together. It's not this, it's this.
No.
No, yeah, I agree. And I was thinking, follow up for your last question is, I more have people coming, you know, when a management company has already gone south, and it was all about the communication. Well, you know, why do you want to change management? Poor communication, not having the tough conversations, not managing the asset in that way. But people do look at it as adversarial. You know, sometimes asset managers are more involved, but I tell my team and myself involved, usually it's because they're not getting what they want. If you give them good quality information and you develop that trust between asset management, then it's a great relationship. But if it's tilted to one side or the other, it's usually because one or the other's not delivering.
Yes, that communication is broken down.
It really is, and so that's why it's so important. You know, one of the things that I love about Rockstar Capital is that, you know, we fully integrate that way. So because we have our own property management platform and asset management platform, you know, everything is this way. And it's really the investor that's the benefactor of that.
You know, and we struggle with this internally too, right? How do you have that delineation though? Because, you know, sometimes you feel like that can kind of get a little murky, where maybe the property management company's a little too loose with the asset manager, or vice versa. Like, I guess, and this is a question for both of you guys, right? How do you keep that, you know, where you stopped? You know, this is asset management, this is property management, because this is where people get off track so many times, right? You know, so I mean, you guys have all this stuff in house. How do you keep them accountable where you don't have this, you know, contest between the two parties where, oh, that's property management, and they're saying, oh, no, that's asset management.
No, I mean, look, it's not that way. It's Rockstar Capital Management is really what it comes down to. It's not, hey, this is a property management thing, you have to handle it, or hey, this is an asset management thing, you have to handle it. You know, when you talk about this versus this, it's your problem. It's my problem. Whatever it is, it's my problem.
It's ownership, right?
It's ownership, right? And so that's the great thing about you know, dealing with Rockstar Capital, because Robert and I invest in every one of the deals we do. It's our money. We're going to make sure that it gets done no matter what. So if there's a leasing issue, it's an asset management problem too. We're going to look at it. We're going to figure out a way to get it done. It's, even though it may be property management, asset management's going to get involved, and we're going to figure it out.
I like it. Yeah, you have to be that way, right? I mean, it's a collaborative approach.
Correct.
You know. All right, so back over to you, Miss Jackie. All right, so you've been in property management for, you said, 15 years?
25 more years.
I wasn't trying to date you, all right? You know, but all right, so you have told me some crazy stories. All right, so we'll make light of some of this stuff. So what is some of the craziest stuff that you have seen in this business? You know, now we can, you know, there's not too many kids here, I think we should be all right, but, you know, we'll try to keep it PG-13.
Wow.
Come on, this was actually one of the questions on the notes, guys.
It's still hard. Yeah, craziest. Let's see. Dominatrix Apartments, when you walk due diligence. Yeah, they don't want to come into their own home. She paid her rent on time, it's all good. You know, found voodoo dolls of myself and one of my supervisors in a residence apartment one time. You guys got to imagine, it's their home. There's all kinds of crazy things that happen. Actually, here in Houston, a couple of years back, had a resident that decided to shimmy over the fence, and after a long night at the other property, instead of going to the pedestrian gate, and decided his keys dropped down into the bottom of the column there on the fence. I went home, and I guess sometime in the night decided he was going to go back over there and try to get those keys out. So the next morning, all we did was see his feet coming out of that column up there. So unfortunately, he passed away, but his wife got a lot of money from our insurance company because we didn't fill in the top of the fence pillar. Yeah, which, when there's a pedestrian gate right down the way, but still, you know, His wife's very well off because of that.
There you go.
There
All
you go.
right. Well, that's still, the drunken stories, I think we've also heard of some, the guys that try to jump the fence, they get caught on it,
Oh, yeah.
nail themselves. And
Yeah, engine
everything
grease.
else. Yeah.
Engine grease.
Jeez.
Stops them from going over the top of the fence.
All right, Sam, same question for you, because you obviously, you've done some deals, you probably see some crazy stuff. What's some crazy stuff?
Yeah, along those lines, I mean, anytime you're gonna have people doing just dumb things and when the insurance is gonna get involved, I think one we had a couple of years ago, where we had a resident, actually she was a non-resident, I believe she was a dumpster diver, and jumped into one of our dumpsters, and unfortunately she found a fire extinguisher that was actually not a property fire extinguisher in one of our dumpsters. And unfortunately for her, in messing with it, trying to mess with it, the extinguisher exploded. And she had a significant facial injury with that, and unfortunately later passed away because of it. But it's, these are things that, from a property management standpoint, we then have to put, for our own insurance purposes, no dumpster diving in every one of our.
Yeah, it always relates back to a sign or something that you have to do, warning, right?
Yeah, there are all kinds of crazy things, so anything that will happen when it's these, it's the residents' homes.
No, absolutely. All right, so another question for you, Sam. So toughest aspects of asset management and why?
Some of the more difficult aspects, you look at things like with what's happened with COVID-19 just this past year. You look at, expectations that you pro forma out in doing your business plan. And as soon as you do your business plan, just like as soon as you purchase the property, you have to understand it's changed. There will be things on there that'll change whatever you guys are putting together. And just the ongoing thing of making sure that you are outrunning all the issues that are out there. The lenders that were up here talking earlier, they were talking about Houston in general, the fact that we have, there are things that outside forces that will happen to you, like taxes. Specifically mentioning things like, Harris County here, or Bexar County, Travis County, Tarrant County, those larger primary markets here in Texas, the tax man has gone crazy. They're trying to earn every dollar they can from you and on the backs of the landlords. And I would also throw in another thing like that too would be insurance. We do not have the ability to necessarily predict when there's going to be a catastrophic one-time event that occurs, and we've had 6 of them in the last 2 years. Lifetime events of that nature, but you have to adjust, and you do put a little pressure on property management because you have to adjust your numbers to account for those changes.
Gotcha. Same question.
I think that, you're definitely right in that sense. One of the things we do differently at Disrupt, we start really early. When the due diligence process starts, we line out the staff. We make sure that we're fully ready the day of takeover with renovations and what we're going to be doing in the units, what's going on in the market, so that we can hit the ground running. A lot of people wait till the day they get there to do that, and that helps. There's going to be surprises on our side as well, in the units and whatnot. But you've got to make sure that from day one. I'm not just saying this, that what is the investment strategy of the client? Are we executing it? If we're not able to execute it, are we communicating with the client about why, so that we can modify the plan?
But what's the toughest part of it, right, of property management?
The people.
You obviously you work different levels of the whole thing, so what's been the most difficult?
The most difficult, I would say, it's the people. It's the people aspect. Probably depending on the market conditions, how you can get to the same point from a different route. Sometimes those things are just outside of your control.
Yeah.
So that's the toughest, and just making sure you hire the right people.
And kind of outside of looking at it, obviously I'm a part of it, but you guys are running the day-to-day, right? It is the people that are, and that, but for every business though, right? That is the challenge, right? Because your employees' problems become your problems.
Yeah.
Real estate's easy, people are hard.
Yeah, you're part manager, part therapist, part motivator. The whole gamut of trying to keep people in the right people in the right seats.
Yes, you take over an asset. Most of the time, I took over and I said Dallas, new takeover. We got there to take it over, the safe team was on the property, which is, if you're from Dallas, that means they're gonna shut you down, and, the water's not working, the area's regentrifying, but not there yet. And so you have to, you have to really get in there and have, a team of people that is trying to get the lease up done for the gentrification. You gotta have a team of people that's working with the existing profile resident. You gotta have a construction group that is working the things for the city and the construction. And then on the back end, you gotta make sure that you're meeting those investment goals and things of that nature. So you've got to have the right people in place, constantly recruiting. And then, now I think about that now, like we had the technology and what we put in place at Disrupt now, I would have just loved to have had that, 10 years ago. So that makes it a little bit easier, but we recruit every single week.
So imagine having COVID 10 years ago. Zoom wasn't a thing. I mean, we would have been crippled. At least people can now, they at least have some business meetings. You can have some stuff that's remote or virtual. It would have been SOL back then, So, all right. So moving along here. So I guess one thing, Sam, you came from kind of corporate America. What are some of the skills that I guess you brought over that you feel makes you a strong asset manager, right?
Sure. And like I said, most people assume asset management just being numbers, of which a lot of it is, obviously. Having been a corporate banker for 18 years prior to this, and I lent billions of dollars on this type of product before, so having an understanding of the underwriting, all the things that you're going to go through that. But in addition to that, even before I became an employee with Rockstar Capital, I was actually one of our original investors. And so being able to invest in all the deals that we've done too prior to this and actually see all of them, I had a great understanding of how the business model worked, how you actually had to execute it. And one of the great things of the skill sets that I had prior to, it just transitioned very well into it. I was a president of a bank, so I understood how to run teams of people and accomplish goals that you need, whatever you were setting out. And you bring that over to you. We built up our asset management arm significantly over the last 2 years. We have in-house revenue manager who meets weekly with the on-site teams, right? And so they're meeting and actually talking about pricing with every aspect of it, right down to the floor plan, to the unit, depending on what it looks like. And we have an underwriter who's unlike anything else in the industry. He's just worked with me for a long time. He's a CPA and an attorney. These are all the benefits that we have when you have somebody who isn't necessarily from the industry, but comes into it having a great understanding of it, bringing a team of people with him, so that we can, and really, the reality is our investors are the benefactors of that. I mean, everybody got the benefit of that. And it's one of the things that we built out very well at Rockstar Capital.
So switching gears to you, Jackie, you've helped people consulted for big firms, you've helped people start their own management companies, you've had your own management companies. I think a lot of people in this room are probably either doing deals or wanting to do deals, eventually might have their own, right? What's some of the tips and the advice that you would say before taking that plunge? Because I think anybody that actually has done it realizes that it's not an easy thing to do, right? So what's some of the advice that you would give people that are maybe starting off or maybe looking to actually make that move?
It is a big commitment. Again, doing your homework, isn't the right thing. Where do you want to be a year or two from now? If you're planning on doing, investment and doing some other items, realize the amount of time it takes, to manage the assets. I think you really have to, consider those things. I know people say nobody else is going to take care of your property like you take care of your property, but time and time again, I've had clients come back and say, yeah, it was a lot harder than I thought. Making sure that you can get where you want to be. I've had people that, end up managing it themselves, and where they wanted to buy 5, 10 deals, they ended up stuck at 1 or 2 because, it went south or bad, or they didn't have the time. I think that is important. I think investing in technology. The nice thing now is that, everything is web-based. That's great, but you gotta be able to, digital is king. Do you have what it takes to, hire the right people and put the right infrastructure in place for you to be successful? And if not, be honest with yourself and find a partner that does.
I would actually add to that too, because if anything, this last week just taught us, right, is how actually difficult, managing all the things that can occur in an event or things of that nature. We had 384 pipe breaks, right? And the enormity of actually dealing with that, but actually having the foresight of going, before we did that, we had 3 contractors the week before. Hey, we know that we got a pretty big storm coming up. We need to know we have plumbers ready to go. You're prepping all that thing. Those are not things, though, that you just know right off the bat. That's stuff that took time to learn and to actually know by having a person that is in the chair, sitting there, learning, been there, done that. And so, we had an investor call us last week. He was actually asking us to come take over a portfolio. He's an investor with us, but he owns 4 other assets in another deal. And what I was explaining to him, is that great deals are made. They're not just found, right? And what I was trying to tell him was, I can give you a vehicle, and we can go race, and I can take an inferior vehicle, but put Mario Andretti in there. Who's going to win? And so you back the jockey, not the horse. And when we started ours, Robert had literally quit his job, and all we do all day, every day is this business. That's all we do. We don't have any other things that we do, and that's how we are able to make it and do what we can at Rockstar Capital.
No, I love it. I love it. All right, so let's take some questions from the audience, guys. What do you think? Anybody want to ask something of these great panelists on the property management side or on the asset management side? I know whenever I got into business, I kind of gravitated, and I still to this day am on the asset management side of our business. And I think it's kind of a black box in some ways, right? And I think it gets confused in a lot of ways with the property management. So this is your opportunity. These are 2 awesome people. Anybody have questions? I will run around the room and give you guys the mic. Come on.
Hi, Ben. There's some on the app. You want me to read it?
Oh yeah. There is an app. And see, this is why you need to be doing the moderating, man. I'm doing a horrible job.
You're doing a great job.
He's doing a great job.
Yes.
Everybody tell Ben he's doing a great job, please.
I did not prepare at all. That's why I'm not.
We're gonna form a line and everybody's gonna give Ben a hug. Question for you guys. Do you have an asset management fee in your financial model? Is the fee get distributed back to the general partners or sponsor? Can you touch a little bit on that?
Sure, as far as the asset management fee?
Yes, sir.
For what we do, we charge it's effectively a 5% fee that we break out. We break out 3% that goes to property management and 2% goes to asset management. Under the IRS guidelines right now, we're actually able to move that asset management fee below the line, so it actually does not impact the NOI, and that's actually one of the big reasons why we break that out.
Yeah, and just to give some perspective
That's
from
pretty much
disrupt equity, right? It's a 1.5 on the asset management fee. Same thing when you bring it below the line. And just property management fees, we're gonna 3 because we're managing our own deals, right? It's there to break even, not necessarily be a profit center for us, right? So.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I like it. What else we got?
How and where do you find great employees?
Yeah,
You guys take
Alamo rental car,
I see some over there.
Well,
right there too.
they are. I was actually having a conversation with my team earlier today. Renee, who runs our marketing department, in his 20s. I need more of him. Your generation is just damn lazy. The 20s. So we do want people within the industry. We recruit all the time. I mean, every week we're required to go out there and recruit. We look for the great properties that are performing well. Their rents are going up in the market. That are clean, and we go out and go out and go fishing. So we're always looking for great people. But with the technology that we do and how we run our properties, we need people that are innovative and that are flexible. And some of the old school managers don't fit our mold. And so we think outside the box and pull people in from other industries as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, we have an in-house HR group, including a recruiter with that, but I would tell you some of the very best people that we find is when we're actually out shopping for deals. I can tell you back in 2019, Robert and I were looking at a portfolio of deals from Camden in our Corpus Christi market. Camden was actually pulling out of the market. Although the properties, we were able to win the deal, we did happen to hire quite a few of their employees because when their company left, we made ourselves available for them. We were actually able to capture several great employees that way. But it is a constant thing. You're constantly looking for people, absolutely on site, not just from the property management standpoint, but from the maintenance standpoint as well. We're constantly looking for more and more people.
Yeah, no, I love it. Yeah, you have to look at the clean deals, look at the ones that are well kept, you know, and you go in there and just start talking to people,
Yeah,
right?
you shop them.
Yeah.
You shop them, you know. And I think when you're buying a deal, there's a little bit of a contractual thing that you have to be careful with, but we always,
What do I always tell
we always
them?
be very
I
nice.
say, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna recruit, and then they're gonna call you and tell you how unprofessional I am, and you're gonna go, oh my God, I can't believe she did that, and we'll be good.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, everybody has to recruit.
No, you have to, right? You know, because, you know, and good people are going to move up or going to move on, right?
And as you grow, you know, I mean, you've gotta have a strong bench, because you want the top performers working for you. That's all. You know, we rank our people, and if somebody's down at the bottom, doesn't mean they're gonna be fired, but it means that how do we get them up to the top? And if not, we make a change. I mean, we are passionate about making sure that we reach the best potential and satisfy our clients, and the only way we can do that is if we have the best people working for us.
You guys, let me follow up real quick. We talked about finding great employees in other industries, perhaps, right? So they may not know what you do or how you do it. What do you identify about them that is potentially great?
Yeah, it's funny you say that too, because some of our very best employees are actually referrals from other employees. And it's actually, they may not, you know, hey, I have so-and-so, they haven't been in the industry, but, you know, they work in retail right now, they have great sales skills. And, you know, I really think you guys probably should consider it because they would be a great customer service person on site. And those end up being some of our very best employees. We have in-house training. We can train people up on how to do things, but there are certain skill sets that those types of people have. And if you're born with it and you're just a natural salesperson like that, you have passion, you come off and you know what you're going to do. Those are people that we're going to want to make teammates.
Excellent. Thank you, Jack. Anything to add on that?
No, I totally agree. You've got to, find the right person. You can teach them everything else.
Amen. Yeah. A couple of questions about the technology that you guys use. To the extent that you can, share what
No
technology
state secrets here, my friend.
I'm sorry.
We
I'm
have
just,
secret
I'm just
sauce.
reading the feed, Ben. No, and I'll talk about some of the technology that you use and how it's beneficial and maybe how that's changed over the last couple of months or years.
I mean, I can tell you, a great example is when COVID hit, we really didn't miss a beat. We started about 4 years ago now, already doing virtual tours. I would actually say we were somewhat ridiculed for it when we first started doing it. Because it was something that was so out of the box, so out there. Who really wants to go do that? And the industry's changed. You have to understand that. Nobody really packs a book anymore and looks through their apartment guide and go, all right, I'm gonna go visit these 10 properties. That's not what they do. They go online, right? That's absolutely what they do. They go online and they whittle it down. And one of the big things that they look at is they're gonna look at your customer service satisfaction scores. And so from a technology standpoint, that's one of the big things that we've actually poured into. From an Aura score standpoint, which is one of the standards that they have out there, we're ranked number 2 nationally that way. We continually go out and we will ask, when's the best time? When somebody's moving into their unit, do they feel good about it? Yes, we ask them for a review, right? When they're renewing, do they feel good about it? Yes, we ask them for a review. And we constantly get feedback from the tenant base that we have to actually improve our scoring. And we consistently have, right now I think we have 3 properties ranked in the top 1% nationally because of that. But it's, from a technology-driven thing, we keep pushing that because that's how we keep finding more and more well-qualified residents for our properties. That's how they search and that's how they find you. Go for it.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. Back in the day where, a resident complained, you took care of it and, addressed the issue. Now you have to realize that, if it gets out there and you get 2 or 3 bad reviews, people believe it. You have to be on top of everything social media and reputation management related. We have a whole setup that we do that, and the big thing is automation. Almost everything we have is automated as it relates to our client management system, how we deal with our prospects, how we deal with our residents. Everything is automated and integrated. From a top side, I'd say, we use RealPage software, which is a lot of software that people use, but everything we use to the max. Business intelligence software, a lot of strategic software. And the big thing for our clients is that we use Teams and Asana. We use programs that we bring them into. So on occasion, a client will assign something to Ben or Ferris.
Hey, whoa.
That's right. So I think the big thing is to have everything integrated and seamless, and try to be as paperless and physical, least amount possible. And I guess with COVID, we were able to realize that we would still be able to make that connection. At first you were worried you're doing an autonomous tour. They're in the unit, you're on a Skype with them, you're talking to them, you're walking them through the tour. So everybody had to adapt. We do a lot of our leasing, on the phone now. Walking people through the virtual tours online, walking them through the leasing product. Phone calls used to be 3 minutes long. Now, 15, 20. And I think we were in a lot better position to take advantage of that, because we were technology driven. There are a lot of other people out there in the market.
Yeah, business intelligence, one of the things you just talked about, is something we utilize every day on the asset management side. I mean, the accessibility of real-time data, where we're looking at all kinds of things. I want to know what my lease trade-outs are. I want to know what my renewal increases look like. I can break that down on a property basis. I want to know, hey, in 2 months, are you going to have an exceptional amount of notices to vacate? And what are you going to do to make sure that that gets combated, right? And so that's another aspect of asset management, talking to property management. Hey, say, hey, look at what's coming up. Look at where your potential pitfalls are, and we utilize the business intelligence on that on a daily basis to be able to appropriately evaluate those things and to make sure that our property management doesn't stumble.
And we use that as well. We actually have a dashboard for our managers and property supervisors looking at the same thing, drilling down. So you can look at the information, make a real-time decision, and be proactive versus being reactive. And I think that gives you an advantage.
No, I love BI. And it was funny, until we started our own management company, and I always tell the story, we had to fire like 5, all right, before we got fed up and decided to start our own. But every single one of them had RealPage. Never once did they ever turn us on to business intelligence, which is a module within RealPage.
Yeah.
I don't think you even have to pay for it, right?
Yeah, there's a very small model.
Small.
Yeah, but it's minor compared to what you do.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's so powerful. So what we're talking about, folks, is like, these are real charts and graphs, real-time data that is allowing you to make proactive decisions based on stuff that might be happening in the future, right? And it's, like I said, it's real time. It's as of, that day or the day prior. So, but one thing that I do want to add to on the disrupt management side is, both me and Ferris came from an IT background, and I guess what we've really tried to do is not try to, create custom software, create custom solutions, even though we have the capability to do it. It's literally just taking solutions and software and products that were already out in the market that our other corporate clients were using, and just introduce it into the real estate space, right? So, I mean, some of the stuff like Asana, we had Slack, okay, I hear you. Slack, now we're using Teams, Confluence, which is kind of like an internal Wikipedia. I mean, all of these things are what our corporate clients were doing in the past, right? And it just never really made its way into the commercial real estate space. So, and I think that all of these have made, the company more efficient, right? But I think the one thing talking about technology is really marketing now too.
Yeah.
I think property management companies, I think this is where in-house property management companies do it a lot better, because they're, obviously the owners have some stake in the game. But you get a third-party company in, I won't name any names, they're going to say that they can do reputation management, they're going to say that they can do SEO and this marketing stuff, and they do a horrible job at it.
Well, it's so interesting that you say that too, because we have our own internal marketing team, and it is literally down to a specific science now. So if I'm talking to our head of marketing and I go, hey, look, with where we are, I'm looking to refinance this property. I want to make sure we maintain 93% occupancy. We literally have it drilled down now to the actual dollar amount, where I know how much a lead costs. I know what my conversions for leads are, so I know how much it's going to cost to actually get a lease. And I can go, hey, turn the spend up $1,200 a month for this property, because I need to get 6 more leases in every single month. All right, and then make sure that property management knows, hey, we're going to turn a spend on, through our Facebook and SEO, marketing, advertising, and you guys are going to get flooded with leads. You're going to have a lot more leads that you guys are going to have to deal with. But I also know that I can quantify that cost and actually say, hey, here's how much it's going to cost, and I can turn it up, and you guys are actually going to get a few more leases because of this, with the leads that we're generating. And I think that's what you're talking about. I mean, it's actually gotten very quantifiable for us because we do it in-house.
Yeah, but there's so many management companies out there, and they always ask me, why didn't they ever turn it on? I'm like, what management company wants the owner to have that much information? Because then they're gonna have questions. Yeah. So, you know, I think that's really important. But most management companies, you know, you got to pull a report out of, you know, their software. Everything's integrated. Same thing with us. What's going to work? What do we need to turn up? What do we need to tweak? You know, our system is set up. It's highly customizable, and it pulls in every lead, everything that's out there on the internet, every phone call, everything into the system, so we can evaluate what's working, what's not working, what do we need to tweak. We're not going to have a client, you know, sign up for some big marketing thing for, you know, for a year and not know if it doesn't work. So you got to know where your dollars are being spent and what's working to be successful.
Yeah. So I think we got about 3 more minutes.
We got one more, if that works?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. As a newbie and you want to learn more about property management, how do we enter into the property management world? So how does one orient themselves with what you guys do so well?
You know, I mean, there's obviously industry stuff out there, but I recommend you know, go to a local management company and start at the ground floor. You know, be as a leasing agent. You know, try to get into that skill set. Do internships. We do internships during the summertime if somebody wants to come in and learn the industry. So I think that there's a lot of ways, but for me, boots on the ground. So, you know, the best thing would be is to partner with somebody, work out an internship so you can get in the field and see what it's really like.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's how I've seen most people, right? You know, they're going to kind of come up through the ranks almost. It's not like you're going to step into some CEO role, you know.
Yeah, but there's a lot you can do to you know, educate yourself. I mean, you're here right now. You're at a Disrupt Equity event. There are a lot of things that you can do just by being here that you can learn about these aspects. And there's several other events that Disrupt Equity puts on throughout the year where you have that capability to be able to continue to learn. But I mean, there's several groups out there too where you guys can you can educate yourself. I mean, there's so many things that you can do. It's really just taking action, like so many of the speakers have said, and actually getting involved.
No, I 100% agree, right? You know, I mean, if that's something that you're passionate about, you know, just be prepared. You're going to probably have to eat it for a couple of years, right, to learn the business the right way, and then you're going to appreciate it, right? That's what I always love. If you start at the bottom and you kind of work your way up, you appreciate the people that are going to be now reporting to you because you've done their job, right? You know, but yeah, absolutely. There's tons of jobs in property management. There's, you know,
Yeah,
there's a lack of opportunity there. So, you know.
I mean, it's a great industry and a great way to make a living. There's lots of opportunity. You know, if you're you know, ready to work hard. I always thought, you know, maybe our asset managers should go outside, work for a little bit.
You know, it's so funny you say that because one of the strategies we pulled just recently was our corporate team all has angel sites now.
Yeah.
And so they actually all go out to a specific site and they're there to do whatever is needed, whatever the property needs, and they're all learning because of that. You know, our CEO actually started in that chair. He actually was a leasing agent. That's how he started in the industry. He literally had tenants lying to him. He literally had all those things happen, right? You literally have to have all that stuff so that you have that understanding before you can take somebody's money as an investor and be able to put it into a deal of all those aspects that you're going to be able to do.
Yeah. No, I really think that's important. I mean, you know, people that run management companies, some of them have never even lived in an apartment. You know, I've grown up in apartments. I think that, you know, knowing kind of what goes, and it's not like, you know, you lower those expectations. You have very high expectations, but understanding what it takes to be successful on site, I think it's important for everybody to know.
Absolutely.
All right, big hand for Jackie and Sam. All right.